to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors. But this story goes beyond basketball. It's about United and the Warriors teaming up and showing up for Bay Area communities of color. Through the franchise fund, we're helping minority-owned businesses, from manufacturers to a local cosmetics brand, get the funds and resources they need to thrive. Because when good ideas find their champion, we all win. This is the story of an airline and a community. When good leads the way.
Hey, Stephen Curry, it's game day, and you know what that means.
That you're going to talk like an announcer all day long?
Yes, and fans get 10% cash back in arena or online at Warriors Shop by using Rakuten.
That is pretty exciting.
Cash back on Warriors gear is exciting, Stephen Curry.
I think they know it's me.
Good point. We just need to tell them the website.
Rakuten.com/Warriors. RAKUTEN.com/Warriors.
The roar of the crowd. The sweet sound of a swish. Nothing beats being there live at Chase Center for the game, Warriors fans. And Ticketmaster is your official gateway to buying and selling the best seats all season long. Ticketmaster verifies every seat sold, guaranteeing that getting into the game is a layup. Be there live to defend Warriors ground this season with seats from Ticketmaster.com/Warriors. Ticketmaster, the official marketplace of the Golden State Warriors.
Been listening to the Golden State Warriors audio network,
Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope they got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
All right, welcome in. John Dickinson at Chase Center, where the Magic beat the Warriors tonight 115-101. We open up the phone lines right off the top of the show here, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570, as the Warriors fall for the second consecutive time on the home floor, and the first time the Warriors have dropped consecutive games on the home floor this season, as this one coupled with the Pistons game on Wednesday night. And the Warriors now find themselves 17-4 on the year at home. And you look up now at the Western Conference standings and the Warriors' record overall here as they will reach the halfway mark of the regular season following Tuesday's game, as they're at 20-20. So right back to 500 once again. And unfortunate because the Magic, just like the Pistons, walk out of Chase Center with a season series sweep of the defending champion Golden State Warriors. Now, the guys that were actually on the floor tonight, not many of the defending champion Warriors, at least as far as the rotation players go. And really, I thought the tone for tonight's game was set right at tip-off and really shortly before tip-off, as the Warriors were set to get some good news in this one before the game, that not only was Andrew Wiggins going to play for the first time since December 3rd, but Andre Iguodala was going to play for the first time in the 2022-23 season overall. And it felt like, all right, the Warriors are getting some reinforcements. Steph Curry's going to be coming back here within the next 6 days. And then right before tip-off at the end of the warm-up, Klay Thompson left the floor and went to the Warriors' locker room. The players were introduced, and there were some children that did the pregame introductions tonight via a recording. And so Klay Thompson, as far as everybody knew, was in the starting lineup, but Klay did not come out for the warm-up. His name was actually introduced, and then the players take the floor for the game, and Klay is not out there, and everybody's wondering what the heck happened. He obviously had gone off during the pregame warm-up, and Dante DiVincenzo, who has been starting with Andrew Wiggins out, remained in the starting lineup, and everybody's kind of wondering what the heck's going on with Klay. Eventually, it gets announced by the Warriors that Klay Thompson out with left knee soreness, and unfortunately for Klay Thompson, it just felt as if everybody's in a good spot and you're coming back and you're trying to build and reestablish momentum. And then for Wiggins and Iguodala being back in the fold, then you're just taking somebody away. And you knew Wiggins was going to be on a minutes restriction tonight, only played 19. You knew Iguodala was probably going to play around 10. He played 12. And the Warriors did still get off to a start of 24-17 and a 7-point lead. But really from that point on, it was all Magic. The Magic wound up closing the gap to where the Warriors were up only one at the end of the first quarter. It was an 11-2 run to close the quarter at that point for the Magic, or 11-5 run rather to close the quarter for the Magic, and then they go on and beat the Warriors 34-30 in the second, 30-23 in the third, and they just look like the better team tonight, frankly, with their young talent led by Paolo Banchero, the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Franz Wagner looked good, and the Magic, like the Pistons, are a team that is extremely athletic and bouncy, and they were physical with the Warriors at times. They've got some length, and that length really bothered the Warriors as this game went on. Anthony Lamb did his best to try and save Golden State coming off the bench as he poured in 14 in the final 7 minutes of the first quarter and started the game by knocking down 5 threes early. He was 4 for 5 in the first quarter, but he knocked down 5 early and ended up 5 of 14. So Anthony Lamb, after the hot start and the 4 of 5, he ended up 1 of his last 9 for a 5 of 14 overall, career high 26 for Anthony Lamb, but 22 of those were in the first half where this game was relatively close, and it was a night where you figured the Warriors were going to be a little bit discombobulated by the reacclimation of Andrew Wiggins and Dante DiVincenzo going back to the bench. And you see this all the time with the Warriors. Anytime somebody steps in and other roles shift around, it typically takes them a game or two. So I was kind of bracing for this to be a little bit of an uneven performance. And then you take Klay Thompson out of the mix, and you just knew that Andrew Wiggins coming back on a minutes restriction, at least you had the feeling he wasn't going to be able to offset what the Warriors were losing in not having Klay Thompson. And not only not having Klay Thompson, but not having a hot Klay Thompson. 115 points over his last 3 games combined for Klay Thompson, the most he'd scored in any span of his career to this point, averaging the 38.3, over 50% shooting, 43.5 from 3. Klay Thompson had been on a tear, and the Warriors had needed Klay Thompson to be on a tear. So it felt like there was a little letdown with everybody wondering what was going on with Klay, and then just kind of knowing that Wiggins and Iguodala were not going to be able to offset that. It was a bad night for Jordan Poole, 2 of 11 from 3, more turnover problems as he finishes with 4 of those, 21 points in 38 minutes. He is a player that I think was definitely bothered by the length of this Orlando Magic squad. And you look at the Warriors overall, and they're able to, after building that 7-point lead, it was basically all Orlando. And you look at the Warriors overall in this game, and they're just not enough scoring, maybe a little bit 3 happy and not wanting to challenge the Magic on the interior. But it felt like even at halftime with the Warriors down only 3 and Anthony Lamb having the 22 points, that if the Warriors cooled down at all, and they made 12 threes as a collective in that first quarter, but if they cooled down at all, this game had the potential to be big-time trouble, and the Magic pushed the lead up over 10 quickly in that third quarter and really never looked back. There was no true run for the Warriors in the back half of the third or in the fourth quarter where you thought, hey, they've got action like they did against Utah or like they did against Portland in rallying and being able to come from behind and win those games late with their defense, although the Warriors did hold the Magic to 23 in the fourth quarter. The Warriors only with 19 themselves, shot 37.9% tonight. The 3-ball did cool down for the Warriors, 12 of 33 first half, 6 of 25 in the second half, and the Warriors did put up 58 threes in this one. And really, I think the Warriors overall from 3 kind of indicative of that Anthony Lamb performance from 3, where it was hot, you needed it early, but unsustainable throughout the course of this game. And the Magic walk out of this building with that victory over the Warriors at 115 to 101. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. We will hear from Steve Kerr coming up here on 95.7 The Game as he addressed the media in the post-game press conference. But I will give you the short version of what's going on with Klay Thompson, because it is good news, I think, at least for now. Klay Thompson got sore during warm-ups, the left knee, and per Steve Kerr, for precautionary reasons, the training staff made the decision to keep him out of the game. So it doesn't sound like it's anything longer-term concerning. And something to monitor, though, moving forward here with the Warriors having a couple of days off tomorrow and Monday, and then trying to wrap up this homestand by getting a win against the Phoenix Suns on Tuesday. And let's just be honest, to have this trip, or this homestand rather, go from 5-0 to now 5-2 and have the potential to be 5-3. And look, Phoenix is coming in struggling at this point. The Suns will play again before they play here at Chase against the Warriors, but they've dropped 5 in a row, and just looking at where they're at overall right now, and the Suns are in a position where they're going to be desperate for a win. They play Cleveland tomorrow night in Phoenix before coming here, but they've dropped 5 in a row, and they're out without Devin Booker, and Chris Paul went out last night. So it's interesting. It's not going to be a gimme game, and I think that's sort of the overarching theme here tonight. Like, Warrior fans can be frustrated, and I get it. I understand you're probably a little frustrated with Jordan Poole right now, and you're frustrated with the get Andrew Wiggins and Iguodala back, and then you lose Klay Thompson. It's been that kind of season for the Warriors, but at the same time, I think this is why it's important that the Warriors were able to get the wins that they did on the front half of this homestand, because it feels like every time the Warriors are just about to break out, they take a couple of losses and they can't quite get, as Matt Steinmetz has put it, off the hamster wheel of being right at 500 or slightly below. And if the Warriors can't get the win Tuesday, I think this homestand is really going to feel a hell of a lot differently than it appeared it was going to feel a couple of days ago, where you look at the Warriors having the potential. I mean, we were all talking about, can they go 7-1? Can they go 8-0 at this point going into these last two games? Now they're going to have to fight and scratch and claw just to get the sixth win. And I think, frankly, that's going to determine good homestand versus bad, given the way that it started. And the reasoning why, for me, is just the fact that this team came home at 3 under 500. And the way I put it was, for it to be a successful homestand, the Warriors would have to be healthy by the end of it, with the exception of Steph Curry, and also be above 500 at the end of it. And that meant that the target, while maybe feeling it would be unattainable at the beginning, the target needed to be 6-2. So that's still on the table. And the one thing that I've just maintained over and over, I tried to tell people, none of these games are gimmies. None of them are gimmies when you look at the players that are actually active and available for the Warriors. It would be disrespectful to the other teams in the league to look around and look at the Orlando and Detroit rosters, as shorthanded as the Warriors have been, and just say, hey, the Warriors should win this game. There are no should wins for the Warriors as they're currently constituted. And I think that was the case without Steph and without Wiggins. I think that was the case where you're still without Steph and you plug Wiggins back in, but it's Wiggins who's basically, going to be a shell of himself tonight, and then you take Klay Thompson away, and you take Klay Thompson away right before tip-off when you're expecting a Klay Thompson that's averaged near 40 over the course of the last week and really helped you get a couple of big wins over that span against Portland and against Atlanta, which have helped propel the Warriors to a spot where you're starting to get a little greedy and daydream about maybe being the 5 or the 4 seed again. None of that off the table with the loss tonight, obviously. But again, back on the hamster wheel, just going round and round and round and round, and hoping that you can get healthy and start to at some point separate from 500, because it's tantalizingly close how close the Warriors could be from separating from a good chunk of the Western Conference if they could even just get to 4 or 5 games over 500. But to this point, they have not been able to do it. Biggest concern as far as Klay and his injury for me, and it really is more overarching than just Klay Thompson left knee soreness and the fact that he didn't get to play tonight. The Warriors took the loss, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But to me, it's more about just the toll that the Warriors, who I've commended, and everybody should, have played at such a high level, but they've expended so much energy on this homestand. They have had to play so incredibly hard night in, night out at the beginning of this thing just to earn these wins. And they're coming back in fourth quarters against some of these teams, and they're having these massive performances from Klay Thompson and others to be able to get over the top. And the concern that I had, we talked about a little bit on Warriors This Week today with Whitey Gleason, is not that you have a choice, because you don't. The Warriors have to try and fight and win as many of these games as they possibly can. But does it come with a cost? Does it come at a cost of, at some point, maybe Klay Thompson has to deal with more of an injury issue or a fatigue issue down the line because he's had to play so much harder and expend so much more energy in regular season games. We're not used to the Warriors having to attack the regular season the way that they've attacked the regular season the last 2 weeks. And again, I find it to be commendable, and Draymond and Klay I've praised for setting that tone, but I think it is bigger picture a statement to how fragile this thing still is for the Warriors as they try to get healthy and as they try to bank as many wins as they can and vault themselves up in the Western Conference. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570, as it is John Dickinson here on 95.7 The Game. It's Warriors wrap-up. Magic 115, Warriors 101. So the Dubs now dip to 20-20 on the season. Let's go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, tonight. Shorter press conference, and he was joined by a young man named Braxton, a 12-year-old from North Carolina who was helping Steve Kerr in the press conference and helping Steve Kerr coach the team tonight, part of the Make-A-Wish program. So Braxton a part of this as well tonight with the head coach. Here's Steve.
Hi, Steve. I was just wondering, Klay obviously didn't play with left knee soreness. Did that come up after warmups? Has it been lingering?
Yeah, it got sore during warmups, and the training staff looked at him and just, for precautionary reasons, kept him out of the game.
Not long-term concern?
No.
Did he get any testing on it? Do you know?
I don't know. Yeah, the training staff just said we're going to keep him out because it's bothering him and precautionary. Yeah.
What didn't you like most, I guess, about this game?
What
didn't you like most about this?
Yeah, I mean, they took it to us all night. They were the more aggressive team. Felt like they were coming downhill at us, and we just didn't have much of a response. We just couldn't get the crowd into it. Couldn't generate much momentum. So I just felt like they controlled the whole game. That about what you saw, Braxton?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they dominated. They were good.
With Klay, how much of a concern was it given the workload that he had in the last few games that something like this might arise?
I just think, you're talking about a guy who's had, 2 major injuries in the last few years. So stuff like this happens. It's like you get a little bit older and you've suffered some injuries. You're going to be more susceptible to aches and pains. And so it's something we just have to deal with.
You guys took, look at how many threes, 58 threes in regulation, not many twos. Did you not? I mean, what did you think of that aspect of the game?
Well, we didn't do a great job of getting by them. I thought their defense was excellent, and we just couldn't generate many rotations. And so it was, it was tough sledding. If they're in front of you and you can't get to the rim, you end up kind of swinging the ball around the perimeter and launching some threes that are less than ideal. So was a difficult offensive night, but I thought they had a lot to do with that. And, it's when you have guys coming back, injecting them into the lineup is never easy. There's a little bit of a shift in different rotations, and there's some rust. And so it was just, it's a tough night all around.
Steve, you just used the word rust. Just kind of wondering your thoughts about Andrew and Andre's returns tonight. It seemed like both of Andre's turnovers were kind of like a misunderstanding of where teammates might be.
Yeah, I mean, Andre hasn't played since the finals last year, so it's been a long time. So, and with Wiggs, I think he missed 15 games. So with both guys, it's going to take a little time to get some rhythm.
Steve, what did you think of Anthony Lamb? I know he started off really hot. He kind of cooled down, but he still led you guys in scoring tonight.
Lamb was great. He kept us in the game early with his 3-point shooting and gave us a chance. I liked where we were at halftime, given that we hadn't played very well. But we were largely there. I think it was a 3-point game at that point, or 4-point game maybe. But we were mainly there because of Lamb keeping us in it with his shooting in the first half.
And Braxton, what was your favorite moment of tonight?
When DiVincenzo started getting hot and hit all those threes for us.
Yeah, and Dante DiVincenzo did get hot in this one, knocked down 5 threes, finished with 15 points, but not enough on this night as the Warriors fall down by as many as 18 to the Magic. Magic walk out of here with a 115-101 victory over the Warriors. 888-957-9570. The Magic started the year 5-20. They are 10-5 in their last 15 games, so they've figured some things out as a young rebuilding team. And look, I think this is the second consecutive game where there's a young rebuilding team that faces a shorthanded Warriors roster and winds up being a little bit of a bad matchup. And I think we saw that back in late October and November when those teams beat the full squad Warriors, or at least close to the full squad Warriors, back on that road trip that really was the first sign of some alarm bells going off for this Warriors team en route to the 3-7 start to the season. And I would look at these last two games and look, people are frustrated and I get it, but I would look at, yes, bad defense, yes, careless turnovers, and repeated careless turnovers from this group. But I'll be honest with you. You look at the Warriors getting swept by Orlando and getting swept by Detroit. Hey, don't lose the games in Detroit and in Orlando when you have everybody except Dante DiVincenzo in Orlando and you give up 130 points in that game in November and blow a lead, give up 43 in the third quarter and lose that game late. Don't lose that game, and don't lose the game in Detroit in late October where you give up, I think it was 128 to the Pistons. Then, those are the games that you wish on a night like tonight that you had in your back pocket, and to where you can take a couple of L's and not have it feel like it's completely stunting a lot of the momentum that's been built up on the homestand, with the Warriors trying to work their way back to respectability and back to stronger health. And so, to me, it's the bad losses are the losses when you have Steph and when you have Clay and when you have Draymond and you have Wiggins and you can't beat these teams when both of them were in a really bad way. I think Orlando was 1-7 at the point in which the Warriors played them earlier on in the year, and I don't think Detroit was much better than that when the Warriors played them, going back to that what would have been, I guess, first week and a half, 2 weeks of the regular season. So 888-957-9570, 415 on the Xfinity mobile text line. Hi, JD. That was some of the worst defense I've ever seen from a Warriors team. When you combine poor perimeter defenders with no rim protectors, you get a result like tonight. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the Warriors were just they got picked apart, frankly. On the interior, the Magic able to get a bunch of twos tonight on the interior. They were able to get open looks from three that they knocked down. Wagner and Banchero knocked down a couple there, and they were able to get to the free throw line 24 times. Only made 14 of them, but were able to get to the free throw line as well. And so, just a tough night all around. And again, I think the longer you have to play with this shorthanded squad, the more problematic that these games were going to be. Like the Warriors were not going to keep winning games with the roster that they were putting out there on a night in, night out basis. Yeah, the Memphis game, okay, everybody was fired up for it, and it's an opponent that you don't like, maybe your most disliked opponent in the NBA, so you ramped it up, national stage, Christmas night, you were able to get that one. But let's not sugarcoat this. They could have lost the game against Charlotte. They could have lost the game against Utah. They could have lost the game against Portland. They could have lost the game against Atlanta, and they didn't lose any of those games. And, yeah, they could have obviously won with a better effort tonight or won with a better effort against the Pistons on Wednesday night. But I think, when you add it all up, you'll take it. But again, there's no such thing with this team as it's currently constituted as a should win. There just isn't. And frankly, I was going back and forth a little bit with Steiny tonight, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but the roster that the Warriors put out healthy tonight is we could have a debate as to whether or not the roster that they put out tonight is better than the Magic roster, to be perfectly honest. Like we could debate it. Obviously Jordan Poole did not play well tonight. Was not a good Draymond Green night at all. That's 2 consecutive, not great Draymond Green nights, but it just goes to show what the margin for error has to be for this team. They have to compete at a high level, and they have to perform at a high level to beat anybody. That's why all of these games running through this homestand were as close as they were, even though the Warriors played a hell of a lot better in the first 5 games than they have here the last 2 games. Now it's a matter of, can they take a couple of days and get on the same page a little bit more, hopefully get Klay Thompson back in the fold for the Phoenix game and try to finish it at 1 over, call it 6-2, be happy about 6-2, get Steph Curry back in the fold as you go to San Antonio and Chicago and Washington and Boston and Cleveland, and try to continue to push forward here, because as close as the Warriors are to that top portion of the Western Conference playoff picture, you go 2-6 again in an 8-game stretch, and all of a sudden you're right back in 11th. And you better be having a healthy roster at that point, because if you don't have a healthy roster at that point, then we're starting to have those conversations about whether or not it's even worth fighting for this team to continue to, again, expend the amount of energy that it's going to take as far as this team having to play at a high level and having to have their big players, their veteran players, try to carry them and pull them through. And I think we've seen a little bit over these last 2 games some of the ramifications of just how hard the Warriors have had to work to earn these wins that they've gotten on this homestand, and maybe not having as much left in the tank. Also, you have to allow for ups and downs. Like, none of these players are necessarily going to play great basketball every single night throughout the course of the longer stretch that they have to play with each other without getting some reinforcements. And again, the Warriors would never tell you that. Steve Kerr wasn't about it tonight, but I think there had to be a little bit of a gut punch at tip-off when everybody's thinking, where's Klay? Where's Klay? Oh, Klay can't go. Because tonight was supposed to be the kind of night where you thought you were going to get close to everybody back of consequence, potentially no Jonathan Kuminga at that point, and obviously no Steph Curry at that point. But the belief was that all right, you're going to get a boost from those other players, and then you're going to have the guys that had been playing well of late to help you. And really, it wound up with a hot Anthony Lamb first half, and really beyond that, in that stretch that young Braxton referenced of Dante DiVincenzo getting hot and knocking down some threes, there really wasn't a whole lot going on for the Warriors tonight. Offensively, the defense left a lot to be desired, and you add it all up, and look, this team got again for a second consecutive game here at Chase Center, now 17-4 on the season here at Chase Center, and one more game to go on the homestand before the 5-game road trip. And again, a little bit of a missed opportunity, I think, for the Warriors here over these last 2. But all they can do at this point is really just finish strong and hope that they can enter the halfway point at 21-20 and enter the back half of the season with this road schedule at a point where they can start to get healthy and make a run. I think they believe if they're healthy, they can make the run and can maybe get even as high as 4th, looking at the fact that they're only, 3 games out of 4th right now. Mavs got back to their winning ways tonight at 23-17, so they're 3 games up on the Warriors. We'll see what happens with the Kings. Kings are locked in a tight one with the Lakers. At least they were at last glance. The Clippers are right there at 21-20. You look at between Sacramento 20-17, currently 5th, the Clippers 21-20. Now you've got the Suns and the Warriors both 20-20. The Blazers are 19-19. Utah lost in Chicago tonight, so they are 20-22. And then you've got Minnesota, who is the current first team out at 19-21. We'll see what happens with the Lakers. Lakers, if they can win tonight in Sacramento, that would actually be their 5th in a row, and even they would be now in the mix at 19-21. So you look at all of that, and as it currently sits right now, the Lakers at 12th. So they are the second team out. The Lakers at 12th are only 4.5 games out of 4th in the Western Conference. So there's a lot of different shifting and things that can go on here. Talked about the Warriors able to gain 3 spots without playing a game. Well, tonight they took a tough L, and they wind up dropping 2 spots and are tied essentially for 7th, but technically 8th overall here in the Western Conference. All right, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. That's actually going to do it for us tonight. We'll go ahead and end it on that note. Truncated edition here with a truncated Warriors roster on a Saturday, which has been a long one for everybody. And the Warriors can get a day off tomorrow, get back on the practice floor on Monday, and we will all reconvene on Tuesday right here at Chase for Warriors Live beginning at 6 o'clock. All right, so thanks to Mark Grandy in our San Francisco studios and everybody else for cutting up the highlights and the post-game sound, the Steve Kerr press conference, which you heard there earlier here on Warriors Wrap-Up. Great job by everybody there. I'm John Dickinson, back with you, 6 o'clock, Warriors Live, Warriors and the Phoenix Suns coming up right here on 95.7 The Game, the 8th and final contest of the Warriors' longest homestand of the season. We'll see if the Warriors can't get back on track before they head on the road. All right, that'll do it. We'll talk to you Tuesday. Keep it locked right here on your home for Warriors basketball. It's 95.7 The Game. Good night.
Attend the largest sale of the year, the Mega RV Show and Sale at Cordelia RV Center, January 6th through the 16th. 10-plus acres of new and used RVs. Receive a $1,000 gas credit on all 2022 models. Cordelia RV Center in Fairfield. Free parking and admission.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code GOLF. Use code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease.